out at you guys, and I'm just like a little bit overwhelmed with just the fact that I'm here. Karen, did you all just get here? I recognize the shirt, and then I recognize the face next. I kind of want to just tell you a little bit about how I got here and how I know some of these people on this magical journey that I have been on. About 6.5 years ago, I was really sick, like really sick. Couldn't hardly leave the house. I had irritable bowel syndrome so severely that just getting in the car to drive across town, I was afraid that I couldn't make it because I had such extreme stomach problems. I weighed about 200 pounds and was very uncomfortable. Really just felt swollen and bloated and gross, and I was depressed, and I didn't really have a lot of things that were making me feel good about myself. And I just happened to be in a bookstore, ran into a book that had Carol Alt. Some of you ladies that have been around for a while remember Carol Alt, supermodel in the 1980s, and her book was called Eating in the Raw, and I just was thinking, but it looked kind of weird, like the food looked weird, like, I don't know, it just didn't look like anything I was eating. And so Carol always was kind of an inspiration as far as she looked beautiful, and I thought, I want to look like that again. I want to be thin again, I want to look great. So I picked up the book and literally read it. In 2 days, I read the whole book, walked in to tell my husband, I think I need to do this raw food thing. I think I might feel better. So I went 100% raw overnight. Within about 3 or 4 months, lost 45 pounds. And I'm still working on that. I still haven't arrived at where I want to be, but I think we're all always in perfect progress. You know, I don't think any of us are fully 100% where we want to be, or we might as well just forget about it. You know, there's always work that we can do. And so did the raw food thing, and I vacillated. I didn't stay 100% raw 100% of the time. So sometimes I'm 100% raw, sometimes I'm adding in a little bit of cooked food, but primarily I eat a plant-based diet. Love juicing. I'm a big fan of juicing. And in March of 2008, I did some research and decided I wanted to go on a juice fast or a juice feast. And so I did a 92 days of just fresh fruits and vegetable juices. And I've never felt so amazing in my life. Did lose some more weight because I put a little bit back on. But just the clarity. And I guess the whole journey that I have noticed is since I started following the diet, which it's just a diet, right? It's just like you eat this food, everything else in my life started shifting and changing. Like the spiritual aspects, the emotional aspects, the people that I came in contact with, and that's been the most exciting part of the journey. So for me now, raw food's cool, that's what I like to eat, but it's about so much more than food. And so I had the opportunity to get to meet Carol Alt. They found out about my story, that I went raw because of her book. They flew me to New York City. I got to hang out with her for a couple days. I could not believe I'm walking through Union Square, Green Market with Carol Alt. I mean, and people were like, they noticed her, and I'm like, yeah, she's my friend. We're going to Pure Food and Wine. You know, and so that was kind of the beginning of the magical things that I have had happen to me. The synchronicities, nothing's a coincidence, and ended up getting an opportunity to write a book. Did not expect it. It just came out of nowhere. Wrote a book a couple of years, well, it actually came out last year. It's called Raw Food Cleanse, and it's designed for the mainstream of people in the world who do not want to be a raw foodist. They don't think they want to, so it's just suggestions of doing different cleanses, like eat raw food for 3 days and see what happens. How about try it for a week and see what happens? So in that process, I got together about 65 people who would eat the diet during this 11-week time period as my guinea pigs. And so I started this little website where I did videos on YouTube every single day, motivating them, encouraging them, teaching them. And within an 11-week time period, as a group, we lost like 900 pounds. We got rid of diabetic medication, we lowered cholesterol, we had just like some unbelievable health shifts and changes. And so 11 weeks, people wanted to still do it. So we plugged them into a new website that is now called RawFoodRehab.com. It's the almost 11,000 members in less than 2 years. And since that time, in the last 2 years, I got really into YouTube. I ended up finding the Raw Bras on YouTube, and then you guys introduced me to Paul Reese.
Why don't you call my
meet Paul Reese. I end up meeting the average Jew. That's how it got started. Russell James, the raw food chef. You all know Russell James. He's been here, taught a couple classes, right? So he moves to Oklahoma City, which is about an hour and a half from where I live. I get a phone call from a friend of mine who had a raw food magazine. She said, would you do a story, an interview with Russell James? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I would love to. So I met Russell. Through Russell, I ended up meeting the average Joes on the raw, and we became like best friends overnight. I just felt like they were my long lost. What? Very quickly. And I felt like meeting you, it's like something shifted and changed in me. And then I started following the raw bras more. Then they introduced me to Paul Reese via YouTube. Then you guys met Paul Reese. And so all this is going on. And then one day I see a video with Dan McDonald, and he's in Dara Duvernay's kitchen. And I'm like, who is this person? I've never heard of her before. And so I decided that Dara and Dan needed to be in the documentary Average Joe on the Raw, so I called you guys up. The next thing I know, she's on the phone with me. Yeah, right before. This is really cool. Right? Stand up here and tell her.
There's a couple of things I forgot to say. One of the other things about eating raw food is that the serendipities happen. Like, so I was talking to my assistant, and I said, I feel like somebody is going to approach me with film or TV, and it's going to be Dan and I, or just me, and I can't tell. And I walked into the kitchen and I checked my computer a second later, and there was a message from Penni saying,
I said, I'm one of the co-producers of the film Average Joe on the Raw, and I've noticed you, and I really feel like you need to be in this film. And she was on the phone. You hadn't even finished watching the trailer, and you were calling.
and that was it. It was like so just that second. So the serendipities happen if anybody wants to hear how I met you came to the stage by yourself. If anyone wants to hear how I got the job with the actor Tim Roth, who's a private chef, and it's totally out of the blue. I'm happy to share that at the end.
And I've taken over her
I love
life.
you. My life has gotten so crazy and so much better. I was living a very private life, raising my 11-year-old child, chef, all day, all night, and in comes Penni, and I've met everybody, and it's just the best thing that's happened to my life.
Well,
It's been amazing. I love you.
so that, I mean, best friend, really, a true friend. And Dave the Rocket Trucker, those of you who've watched his films, I met this great lady for the first time yesterday. I've been watching her YouTube channel for how long have you been on there? A couple of years. I mean, just it's like we're all here for a purpose. We've all been brought together today, but then just in life in general, because there's a message that's coming through here that the world needs. It's not just each one of us needs it, but people that are in our sphere of influence need it. And the message is just showing them how it's done, basically changing your life, not preaching it. And we talked about that this morning in a little session. Not telling people they shouldn't do anything, but talking with your lifestyle. There's a quote that I love by St. Francis of Assisi, and he says, always preach the gospel and sometimes use words. So the best thing that we can do in demonstration is to just live a pure, clean life, enjoy, and just love what we do. And so Danimal of the Raw Bras wanted me to share this story. About 17 years ago, I had a dream that was the most, I don't know what it was. I've never had a dream like it before or since, but it was the most impactful dream. It was more real to me than real life. And I won't go through all the details of the dream, but the main part was that I was ascending up a staircase, and I was with my father, who was ahead of me, and all these people. I knew a few of them, but most of them I did not know. There were children all just running and playing around me. And it was like we were in the hallway of this school. Like, how there's lockers on both sides, and it's a long, long hallway. And so we open these doors, we go up this staircase, and the air starts to get thin. It's like we're going into the clouds. We open up another set of doors, and we're on the most beautiful, green, lush mountaintop that you've ever seen in your life. And there's people from everywhere that have come, and you can just see droves of people coming in, and there's helicopters flying overhead, and I feel this feeling on the inside of me that's like, the closest thing I can express is, for those of you who know what having a baby, the beginning feelings of labor pains, that when they start to come on, it's like this turbulent earthquake on the inside, not painful, but just like I have an awareness that something really big is getting ready to happen. You better get ready. So that was how I was feeling in the dream, and a woman walked walked up to me. It was like a tour guide. She was in a safari outfit, and I said, "What's going on? What's happening here?" And she said, "You don't know? You don't know what's happening?" And I said, "No, I don't even know why I'm here." And she said, "Something wonderful is getting ready to happen." And I woke up and I sat up in my bed, and it was like God Himself had just told me, "Get ready. It's getting ready to get exciting and interesting." And I told my husband at the time, I was like, "Something wonderful is going to happen." And he, till this day, we're not married anymore, but he reminds me of that himself. So it had an impact on me, but he could see on my face that it had a different countenance about it after this dream. And so during different times over the last 17 years, I'll totally forget about the dream, and then something will happen, and all of a sudden I'll feel that come up in my spirit. Remember, something wonderful is going to happen. And so it was Ash Wednesday. It was Wednesday, I don't know what the date was this year, so it was the beginning of Lent. I don't know if that's a coincidence or what, but I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I literally felt like the Spirit of God spoke to me and said, "Okay, something wonderful has now happened." And I was in the middle of all this had just started with all these people and all this stuff, and RawFoodRehab was rocking. But I couldn't put my finger on any one certain thing, like what it is. So what I believe is that something in the heavenlies shifted that day. Something changed. Something significant has happened. A door opened, so to speak. And so now we as humans on this human physical plane that we live on are actually getting to now walk through what that something wonderful that has happened is. And so I just want to encourage all of you to listen. Every day, listen to things around you. Keep your eyes open, because there's messages that you're going to start getting if you haven't already. You're going to know what you're supposed to do next. Follow your gut instinct, follow your heart, and that's really it. That's all I have. I just love all of you all so much. I'm so glad to be here. All of you all have just beautiful faces looking out and those bright eyes, and it's just a blessing to be here. Now here are my adopted bras that I've adopted.